You know, I lived in New York for 4 years, from 1983 to 1987. And a lot of people always like to go to, a lot of people always like to hear about how great New York is. But the thing is that New York is a bit of a lunatic asylum, and it's a very lonely place to be. Even though there's millions of people live there, it's actually a very lonely place to live. I lived there, yeah, like I said, from 1983 to 1987, so it was interesting. It was back in the days when you could get killed in Times Square doing a drug deal or something, or pointing at the wrong person. So, and this is just a really quick story. One where I was walking down the footpath, and the footpaths in New York are always packed with people, and everybody walks at warp speed. Nobody walks anywhere slowly in New York. Everything's done really fast, really quickly. Mind you, I was so skinny back in those days. I walked everywhere for forever, and I didn't have an ounce of fat on my body at all. God, that was a long time ago. Um, and I was walking down the footpath, and all of a sudden I just tripped over something and went flat down, straight down. Put my hands out on the ground to stop myself from falling, and I just went flat down on my face. And the whole footpath was packed with people going everywhere. And do you know, not one single person stopped to help me or ask me if I was all right. I actually had people stepping over my body on the footpath. Not one person. They didn't even like reach out or anything. Oh God, are you all right? Nothing. Nobody said a word. I actually bashed my hand. I know I've got a scar here somewhere. I actually, here somewhere, there's a little scar where I put my hands down to stop myself from falling. And so I just laid there for like just a second because I was in shock. And people were stepping over me, mate. Over me. Stepping over my body. Not one. And people saw me fall. It wasn't like they didn't see me fall or anything. And not one single solitary person even made a sympathetic noise, let alone ask me if I was okay, or try to help me up or anything. Nothing. I was just an invisible person laying on the footpath, and that right there describes New York. That's it. It's every man for himself. You don't get a scrap of sympathy anywhere in the place. Actually, I don't ever remember getting any kind of help like that anywhere in the 4 years that I lived in New York. But I got to tell you that that moment right there was the loneliest moment I've ever had. And I knew right there, when I'm picking myself up off the footpath, bleeding, you know, and nobody even made eye contact. I knew right then that I was completely on my own. I was alone. There was no way that I was going to get any help from anybody, anywhere. And if I was going to make it in New York, by Jesus, what's Frank Sinatra say? You're going to do it my way. I'm going to do it on my own. It was a real eye opener, I got to tell you. And so when people ask me about New York, I tell them it's a shithole. It's a fascinating place to be for entertainment. God knows it has every kind of entertainment in the universe. But other than that, it's just, as far as people are concerned, and I'm sure it's probably changed a lot in the time that I've been there, but when you get somewhere where you've got so many people, it's just, it's every man for himself. It really is. But I know in the 80s it was rough, mate. That was a horrible thing to suddenly realise that I was alone.